Okay, we switched to the indoor scene, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Division III and Division II and Division I sports in college, and some of the coaching, some of the shifts in volleyball, and who better to have with me than a close personal friend of mine, also a member of the inaugural Final Four for Division III at Hunter College and Hunter High School alum. His name is Brendan Feng. Brendan, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, pretty good, buddy. Enjoying this good weather, man. You gotta come out again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah, definitely will.
all right, so let's start with the easy part. I want to talk a little bit about the shift in Division III sports. We're gonna get to D1 in a minute because there's going to be a huge shakeup in 2018. Division III, we're looking at much improved teams like Hunter College. Springfield's always been on top. Nazareth's been up and down, and it's always and if you look at the top 10, it's always been like the 7 of the top 10 are always the same guys. Do you think that's attributed to just good coaching, or is it just a good regional area to recruit? What's your thought on that?
I think part of it is regional. For example, UC Santa Cruz will obviously have the inside track on all the California recruits, being, the main D3 school out in the West. And Springfield having that name and the fact that, that they're very well known, and they honestly they take a lot of guys who probably could play in the D1.
I agree.
But maybe they're they're not just from as well-known high school kind of clubs, or they're just kind of looking in places that the D1 schools aren't looking for. So I mean, I give a lot of credit to their coaching and their recruiting staff to find the people they do. So I think part of it is location, but a lot of it is honestly the name brand, as you can say, where a lot of these schools who are at the top of D3 are finding guys who maybe aren't surefire D1 players, and therefore they don't get a scholarship opportunity from D1 schools.
Yeah, well, with only 4.5,
they'd rather play or start for these really high level D3 schools, who honestly sometimes play the D1 schools during their normal regular season.
Yeah, I mean,
they go out to tournaments. I know Springfield has played Hawaii a couple of times in the past few years.
UCLA.
So right, exactly. So I think a lot of the guys who go to these schools are, they're aware of the school's name and their brand, and that's why they keep getting these great recruits. And then with their great coaching staff, they're able to coach them up and make them great players.
Absolutely cool. So I'm going to take a shift away from college volleyball, and we're gonna revisit that at the end. And I just had a quick question about Chinese 9-man. You represented Strangers, right? Team Strangers for nationals last year. Cool. And I guess my question is, I'm just gonna get to the bottom line here. Do you think, and I might be putting you on the spot a little bit, is Chinese 9-man, is it growing, diminishing, or do you see it staying the same as far as like a popular sport?
Well,
maybe?
in terms of participants, I think it's growing. Just because the Chinese population is growing, there's a lot of people who are, expanding the sport. I think they're doing a good job in, letting the community know. And even now, I feel like Chinese 9-man has gotten well known, outside of just the Chinese community. Like there are people who kind of know about it, who kind of come and watch. Because the tournaments have gone so big. They take up so much space. Yeah. So then, we have to take these huge venues, and then people come and watch, especially because we like playing outdoors. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to see it. Although there has been a shift lately of going to indoor venues, just because we actually can't find large enough outdoor venues to host everybody. So I think it's getting really big. In terms of the popularity, though, I don't know.
Probably the same.
In the future, eventually, how quote unquote mainstream it'll ever be. I feel like a good analogy would be like how street basketball at the N1 tour is compared to the NBA or college basketball, where it's fun. There's tons of fans. People love watching it, but at the same time, it's kind of seeing that's street ball. That's something that is kind of fun to watch, and it's you have these guys who are super athletic and super skilled, but they're always kind of one level below.
So in other words, you feel it's grown in the Asian community, but like as far as popularity in the United States, it's kind of stayed the same?
I mean, it will. I think there might be a point one day where like it'll get, people outside the community will also know about it, but it'll never be mainstream. Like it'll never be on ESPN.
What's the name of the
See the N1 tour on ESPN.
Yeah, what's the name of the documentary again?
I believe it's just 9 Man.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Because I think that only helps.
Yeah. Exactly. It's an amazing documentary. It's by Ursula Lamb, who who really did a great job in like interviewing kind of like some of the key members of the community and really going out and getting great images of the players and of the tournaments. And you can really feel like the energy and the drive in each of the shots she takes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely cool. All right, so let's talk about the magic question for college volleyball. We're going right back. And I asked you this before off camera. Who is your top 5?
So
let's go D1.
Should we? Okay, so D1, I would say top 5. We started number 1 with I believe who should stay top 1 the whole time, which is Ohio State.
Yeah.
I just think that they've looked the best, even though I think we may disagree about this. Where
even though Irvine was like
the gap,
yeah.
Right. No, but I think the gap between them and Long Beach State is not large. It's actually very, very small. But I do think that they should have been number 1, just because actually up until their recent loss to Penn State, they really hadn't had any bad losses. They lost to
Irvine, yeah.
Their only loss was just Irvine, and that's a top 5 team. That's not, to me, that's not really a bad loss at all. While Long Beach State had lost to USC. Again, USC is also a very good school, but it's not a top 5 school.
They're open. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. Yeah, but go ahead.
Right. So
that's your 1.
Ohio State's number 1.
Yeah.
They have 2 great outsides and an amazing right side.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to depend on them to really to win the championship. I think that it is a little worrisome, maybe some of the longer games they've had. They went to 5 with Lewis, and they lost in 5 to Penn State. So there's these things where you kind of see these little cracks.
Yeah,
in their,
matches that could go like another way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly, and I think a lot of that might come from their hitting errors. You notice that. I understand that. When you get a lot of sets, there's much more opportunities for errors. But some of the wing hitters do have a really high error rate.
Yeah.
So
that is
that is a little worrisome. And I hopefully they'll be able to do well in the tournament, and play well.
All right, so that's your 1. Okay.
Yeah, that's my 1.
Who's your let's go top 5. I got Ohio State number 1. They won 19 straight before that loss, and if you want to count last season and this season, that's 42 straight matches they won. They seemed like a snowball going down the hill, getting a little bigger, very unstoppable. Two jump servers, really good jump servers in tandem. I believe the opposite and the outside. Just one after the other, and like you said, they can miss, but man, when they hit, it's a quick game. All right, so 2. Who's 2?
Exactly. 2, I have at Long Beach State. No, I don't think there's any surprise in the top 2 really. The only question is, who you put at 1, who you put at 2. Long Beach State, also has 2 losses that aren't to the top 2, which is a loss to BYU, which I'll get to in a second. And
no, it was actually Ohio State. It was Ohio State and USC. So I think they have 3.
No, they also lost to BYU. They split with BYU.
Yep, they played them twice, so that's 3. Okay.
Right. Exactly. So, and losing to BYU is no joke. BYU is, we'll talk about them later, is extremely...
Yeah, they might
meet
Ohio State again in the finals.
But I think Long Beach State, in general, has a much better record than BYU, and that's why I wouldn't put BYU above them. And Long Beach State, the reason why I put them number 2 is because of their head-to-head loss to Ohio State. And we discussed this as the reason why they should have never been number 1 was because as long as they have that game on their record and as long as they have their USC loss, unless Ohio State drops to a much worse team, then Long Beach State can never really surpass that head-to-head loss.
I actually don't, and I don't see anyone on their schedule that's going to do that right now. So, all right. So you got Long Beach. You got Long Beach at 2.
Yep, and then BYU 3, Hawaii 4, and UCI at 5.
Okay, Irvine, right?
Yeah. So
That's
so to me,
Go ahead.
I think right now the biggest argument to be made is between 1 and 2, and then I think 3, 4, and 5 are actually very
interchangeable.
It wasn't at some point, but then with the last couple of games, I think BYU really solidified themselves at 3 because they beat Hawaii and then they split with Long Beach State. But talk about that split. It was really weird because BYU actually won 3-2 when they benched their starting setter.
Oh, okay.
They benched their starting setter. They played their
there's a lurking variable. Yeah.
And he did amazing. And so he ended up with he ended up basically winning the game for them. Well, I wouldn't say obviously him. Like the guys around him played extremely well during the 2, but they won 3-2 in the first game of the split.
Right.
And then they played again, and then their starting center played, all 3 sets, and they each got swept. They got swept 3-0. I mean, they were kind of close. They were, BYU got 20-something points in all 3 sets. But it was. I just thought it was very interesting, and it's also something to kind of keep an eye out for in playoffs, where maybe, hey, this freshman can come off the bench. Maybe they'll think about doing some 6-2. Who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like. This season, if anything, I've seen a lot of experimentation from teams. And that's why I feel like BYU kind of solidly in that 3 spot because of how they beat the teams below them, but basically lost to the teams above them.
Right. All right. So, so my top 5 is it's University of Hawaii. It's Long Beach State. I mean, they've done a great job under Alan Knight with a hiccup or 2. BYU, who I think has a chance of making it to the finals again. They have not and will not meet Ohio State unless it's in the playoffs. University of Hawaii has really come on. They become tough to beat on the road and almost impossible to beat at home.
Right.
And Irvine deserves that 5th spot, of course, so we're in total agreement on the top 5 and 6. Looking on the outside, and I believe is UCLA, and one of the lurking variables, Mitch Stahl, has he's been battling an ankle injury, and I think another undisclosed injury, and he's been in and out of games. Their starting setter was the Hawaiian cat whose name escapes me. You guys will probably comment and tell me.
Yeah, he's
a really good player, but St. kid was ended up running the 5-1 the last match last week. I tried to get some of the coaches on the show for Tuesday, but the problem was Nygaard or Todd Hollenbeck would have been great for them to have on the show, but and Hollenbeck was coach of the year for UC Santa Cruz before he became Nygaard's assistant. So, and also Spencer McLaughlin was an AVP and also good Spara's assistant. But the problem was they were playing each other. they were playing each other that Wednesday, so they were a little bit busy at the time. So I couldn't reach either one of them. I'm hoping I can reach one of them. But UCLA had a starting outside hitter that was out. They had a starting setter that was out. Mitch Stahl was out. So I was at the Cal Northridge game that they lost. So and they're a team that's they're confident. I think they're just as good as they were last year when healthy. And it's going to be very, very interesting because they play Hawaii twice. They play Hawaii on Friday and Saturday, so that might do a division shakeup. From Mountain Pacific Sports, they're going to, they're going to have 8 teams anyway, and I think USC is going to try to play Cal Baptist to try to get that last spot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they've had some injuries. They had that guy, the outside hitter, the kid from Mira Costa. Yoder, Lucas Yoder. Lucas Yoder is a good player, but the other Lucas that no one's talking about, Lucas Lazone, freshman out of Redondo Union High School, they plugged him in. They started winning a bunch of games since. So good job by Nygaard and those guys realizing where talent is, however early and still underdeveloped. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be the top 8, and finally they have a playoffs. So speaking of divisions, last but not least, speaking of divisions, we got 2018. This is why I wanted the other coaches on. 2018, we got a shakeup in the divisions. It's going to be Mountain Pacific, and it's going to be Big West. That is going to be. I think it's a change for the better. Your thoughts?
I think it's a huge change. I think it's absolutely great because then you don't have people trying to say this division is so much better, and just looking at the conference record. But then you don't also get some of these good teams that are getting beat up all the time.
Agreed.
I think Stanford and Pepperdine look great this year, but it's hard to tell because they're often playing their Mountain Pacific people in the Mountain Pacific and getting destroyed.
They don't seem to leave California unless it's for a good reason, do they?
Right. I mean, it'd be good for them to kind of split up and just at least kind of, so then you can kind of see a little bit more variety, I guess you could say, and see who, how do they look like when they're not just playing all the other California teams in terms of they're playing just a few of the California teams. They're still going to play all the teams. It's more just that you get to kind of see a little bit more. They don't get the double headers all the time, and they're not playing against just those teams. So I think it'll definitely help having the split. I do. Before we talk more about the split, actually, I just want to just plug in Lewis for a little bit, and I think Lewis is actually playing really good volleyball lately.
Yeah.
And if they had beaten Ohio State in 5, we could have had a conversation with them, battling with UC Irvine in 5. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But right now they just have a couple of just iffy losses, and they don't just have that signature win that puts them even at 6. I don't think they can surpass UCLA right now just because they don't have those signature wins. And UCLA, as you said, if they were completely healthy, I think they would be top 5 for sure.
Right. Yeah. And Lewis, by the way, has one of the toughest schedules, and right now in the NCAA, Lewis has. I mean, if they did beat Ohio State, it would mean something because they do. Them and USC, I think, have the 2 toughest schedules, and Lewis is Division II as well. So something else to remind people.
Lewis's coaching to me is unbelievable. The fact that they can do what they do year after year for the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. Is amazing. Yep. But I think maybe even a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I think there was more conversation about the top 5. Mm-hmm. But I think in the past week, the top 5 teams have really solidified, and not just solidified in terms of who's in the top 5, but solidified in terms of what place they are. I think Irvine right now is a very solid 5. It's hard to even see UCLA really making an argument for it right now. Mm-hmm. And then Hawaii is kind of very clearly above them, and so on and so forth. I think the biggest question really is kind of what are they going to play, and because you make the rankings based on the season, right? Kind of their overall record. Yeah. But right now, UC Irvine's on a very big hot streak. Yeah. I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row, and they beat some really good teams that streak, including Ohio State, Cal Northridge, Pepperdine, and Stanford. So, they beat kind of the schools right in their area and above them in this past couple of games. And a big change for them, actually, is the fact that they switched from a 6-2 to a 5-1. That's right. Okay. Their setter, who's actually an amazing hitter, in my opinion. He's I wouldn't say amazing, but he's very, very good. He's big and, but the thing is that I feel like he can do just as well as a 5-1 setter. That means he'll always be a threat in the front row and a big threat at that. Yeah. And
block too.
If he passes the first ball, in back row, you can set him to beat. You kind of open up kind of all these different options for your team when you have a run of 5-1. And I just don't think that they're who they were subbing in for the right side and their second center. I don't think they were. I don't think it was worth it. You know, that sub was worth it to run a 6-2.
Yeah.
So, and then I think the coaching staff saw the same thing, and they switched to a 5-1, and they've been winning real good.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the 5-1 anyway. I'm a 5-1
Right.
guy, but you know, and there's certain teams that make me a believer, but I'm glad that they in particular
No, yeah,
went to 5-1.
I mean, I can see it if you have the personnel for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like UCLA, maybe a believer in the 5-1 for I mean. And they've enjoyed some success. They were fifth set away from going to the finals last year. So
exactly.
Coaching has a lot to do with it too. You got Spara, who's a winner, just a winner on so many levels. You know, he won the bronze as a head coach, and also was Hugh McCutcheon's assistant. Won the gold and a title or two as a middle blocker at UCLA and an All-American. So as a player, he's one of those handful of guys that were a top level player and also a top level coach, because everybody thinks that's a binary thing, and I take to my grave that is not binary. Those are exclusive, mutually exclusive. they just
actually
they're a bunch of unicorns.
Very, very few extremely good players who end up being good coaches. I mean, Karsh Karai is proving me wrong.
Yeah,
I think
his song's not. Yeah, and his song's still being written too. So yeah.
Right. I mean, I think there's I actually think it's even more common in volleyball, I would say. But like if you look at other sports, I mean, we saw how good of a coach Maradona was in Argentina as a soccer player.
Yeah.
He was like, he was kind of okay. It's actually just usually how it works.
Then you got like Chuck Daly, who's never NBA coach for the Pistons, won 2 rings and coached the first dream team. All those strong personalities. How many days has he played basketball in his life? 0. Never played basketball.
Let's look at someone more recent, like Pop.
Yes.
Popovich before the Spurs didn't even coach D1 school. Like he didn't like coach an NBA team. It wasn't like so he really came from kind of out of nowhere, but he had the management skills, and he's kind of learned on the job, and he was good at what he did.
You learned under Larry Brown, though. I mean, right. Anyone that listens to Larry Brown's gonna learn something. I think he's probably the best NBA coach ever.
Exactly.
I mean, not measured by titles, but.
So you don't have to be a great player to be a good coach, and often great players don't make good coaches. We've seen that again and again. It's funny because a lot of the good coaches end up being like, they're being okay players,
Yeah.
Like Phil Jackson was a okay player, but he ended up being a very good coach.
Yeah.
So
he's got a ring as a player. He played with the Knicks. Trust me, I know. I'm almost turning in my Knicks card right now. I mean, but he the last time they won, I mean, we were ending the Vietnam War and Paul McCartney was like leaving the Beatles. It was, I mean, that's just a whole nother story. I mean, I mean, people still choose to watch the Knicks. So I mean, I guess they're.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for a whole nother time. But until then,
exactly.
Brendan, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right. See you later, man.
See you.